and that has continued along with my wife. We are not holy Joes about it, but it nourishes us.
So do you think together the diet and religion and your family has given you the strength?
Yeah, absolutely. The family has given me great strength. Back in May, just after my stomach operation, we had a mass in which people all anointed me and my wife and prayed for us in very personal ways and put their hands upon us. And then we had a mass that was said by my cousin Patrick Malone, and kids and grandkids were there, and they all were obviously a tremendous prayerful and moral and psychic support for me. It was obvious, it was palpable that good wish, that prayer that translated into those actions and anointings and touchings and words was a most positive thing,
Yeah.
And who knows, who can measure those kinds of things, right. But they are very real.
Yeah.
In fighting cancer, just as in the causes of cancer, among them, besides the food, you can name things like stress, anxiety, depression, disappointment, mishaps. The only big stress that I could really point to over my past 10 years would be just the daily grind of doing real estate. But I enjoyed real estate. But even though something is enjoyable, it can be stressful. Because during the 10 years prior to 2007, I was engaged in real estate, very successful. I was also playing tennis each week, was also involved with reading Dante in Italian with friends, and continuing on in different kinds of scholarship and interests, and just having a good home life, enjoying family, enjoying just whatever I was doing. So I wouldn't say I was troubled or stressful, and certainly wasn't depressed at all. But in retrospect, since I have really slowed down any real estate activity in the last year, I can definitely notice the absence of stress. Because in doing real estate, I would worry about a client because it's his or her economic well-being is at stake with what they buy or what they sell. I want them to get as much money for their property as they can. I feel personally responsible to get them the best deal I can within the realities of the market in terms of selling their place. And then on the other side of the coin, if they're buying something, I want them to get it at a good price. So I'm involved very much in that process, and I do worry about people getting a good deal. That in itself, plus all the detail work and the attention to documentation and follow-up, probably have a little bit of stress, even though I enjoyed being in real estate. But that is just retrospective information that I guess I didn't know earlier. But it's good, it's important to have fun, and I've always liked to have fun, and to joke around and have a good sense of humor, and I've always done that. And to not waste energy in being angry or hating anything, but to turn your energy toward loving. That's, to me, is a very healthy way of living.
And would you say that's just your full outlook right now? Just.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
All right. I just had one last question. Did the doctors ever recommend this, or how did they feel when you told them about doing a diet instead of other treatments?
It's very interesting to look at the interface between the medical profession as it deals with cancer and nutrition. Most of the doctors, and I must have interfaced with 10 solid cancer professionals in the process of dealing with my melanoma from 2007 to the present. Should we just leave it, or
I might pick up on that.
do you want to pause it?
Yeah.
Pause it a second. Yeah, you know where the pause button is?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Looks like it's still working. As long as that record button is right.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I think we are recording right here.
Yeah, I thought it did.
Good.
Okay, so
Okay.
what all the different doctors were saying about this?
Good. And most of the medical people do not want to talk about nutrition. They simply avoid it. And with one doctor, I told several of the doctors I spoke with that I was considering doing a macrobiotic diet, and just drew pretty much a blank. Their advice, one surgeon's advice, was to just eat a regular diet, get a lot of protein after this operation, you're looking thin, and eat some eggs. And eggs, of course, are not on my macrobiotic diet. And the one surgeon was much more knowledgeable about a good diet. And he understood about forming a good protein from beans and rice, but he thought I should also eat some eggs, and that really isn't part of the macrobiotic experience. But the three main tools of the medical profession in fighting cancer seem to be surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And one important fact that the National Cancer Society has brought out is that the number one cause of death from cancer in the United States is chemotherapy, which means that people take chemotherapy and radiation and so on with the hopes that they are going to be curing a cancer, but what they do is they compromise or destroy their own immune system, the body's natural capacity to heal itself. And they do this with various well-meaning products. There are people that have beat, for instance, breast cancer with radiation and chemotherapy, and I believe that that is probably the correct thing for them to do, because it seems to be indicated as the way they're supposed to deal with what they're dealing with. But in terms of studies of the American diet and what it does, Colin Campbell has a book out on this. The American diet itself is rather toxic in causing heart disease, arthritis, and cancer, because of the meat and the sugar and the processed flour that is pushed on people in great quantities in our diet from childhood on up. It's just a harmful diet, and yet it's so popular. It's like fighting a tsunami wave to try and go against it. There are many, many vested interests, both in the medical and in the food production and in the energy industries. Just the amount of fossil fuel used in production of some of these refined products in itself is causing global warming.
Jeez.
Just the fossil fuels alone, because it takes so much energy to make some of these processed foods, and not nearly as much to eat natural foods. Because the idea is that these are the foods that our ancestors ate. And we are the product of millions of years of evolution. And we are eating things that didn't exist 50 years ago. We're putting all kinds of refined sugar into our bodies with harmful results.
Wow. Jeez. Well, let's see. I think those were all my questions. Were there any last minute thoughts? Or?
I would say that my sense of where this is all going to lead to, I could totally lick cancer in my body with good nutrition, and it wouldn't be I am licking it myself, but it would be the natural processes in the body are working out a real healthy way for my body to assimilate nutrition and to do its normal function. And I will owe this to a complex of physical nutrition and psychological and spiritual energy and all kinds of good support. And also some luck. If melanoma does take hold again in ways that are just beyond my control, then I'll be faced with difficult decisions again. But I'll be in possession of some very good knowledge about nutrition, and I'll just have to take each thing as it comes, if it comes. I just don't know what's going to happen. But in the meantime, I'm very glad not to be on chemotherapy, because with melanoma, as opposed to some other cancers, chemotherapy, there's hardly anything that's effective. Every couple of months, they come out with a new drug that they say will be tremendous, but then it'll have horrible side effects, and it'll cost $100,000 a year or something of this nature. But they're working at it. They're trying. The medical and scientific professions are trying to find something, but it seems as though they don't want to turn their eyes towards just the natural processes of nutrition in our body.
That's too bad. All right. Well,
Good.
I think that